Welcome, class, to Lesson 7-2, Day 1. Today, strong mathematicians can use the number line model to compare fractions. I'd like to take out your notebook, your pencil, and write down today's date, the name of the lesson, and let's get started. As a nice review with your notes, box 1, talk about unit fraction again. Kind of keep that up and what that means. Also, same thing with the fraction in the numerator and the denominator and those parts that make up a fraction. We also went comparing. Remember, if the numerators were the same, we looked at the bottom number, looked for the smaller numbers, the bigger fraction. And when the denominator is the same, look for whatever one had the bigger numerator. So nice review from our previous lesson. And now we're looking at, here's a number line right now. So the first thing we need to do is be able to identify dots on a number line. So I have blue, so we're going to look at the blue dots because why? Today in your assessment or your assignment, you'll be looking at the red dots. So we're going to look at the blue dots first. So we want to come up with what are those actual labels of these blue dots. So look right now, we see there's an A right there. And notice we have 0 ace right here. We're one jump over. So our A would be 1/8. Well, if it's 1/8, that would be 1/8. Here's 2 ace, 3 ace. Notice there's 4 ace right there. We would have 5 ace. 6 ace would be what our B is. And then we gotta figure out where C is. So C is really close. So when we kind of write C two ways, right? We got 8 ace, 9 ace, 10 ace, 11 ace. Or, because now that we have a fraction greater than 1, we want to make sure that we write that as a mixed number. Will be 1. This would be 1 and 1/8, 1 and 2/8, 1 and 3/8. So we have 1 and 3/8. Our D then, as we notice, is really close to here 16, so we make one more leap. That would be 17 ace. Or we're close to 2 and 1/8 because we're 1 over from the 2. We'll go to where letter E is. Well, we're close to 3. Well, we'll go this one. We have 3 and 24. This would be 25 ace. Or 3 and 1/8. F is right by 28, so I make 29 ace. Or 3 and 5 ace. You can also use your skills that we learned from the previous lesson about how to take in fractions greater than 1 and make them into mixed numbers. Here's 4, 1, 2, and 32, 33, 34. So you have 34 ace or 4 and 2 ace. And last but not least, our H would be then 36, 37, 38. So you have 38 ace or 4 and 5 ace, 4 and 6 ace, 4 and 6 ace. So you can use that bottom number line to kind of show you how we use the number line to figure out what would the dots be on there. We can also notice that some of these dots also would represent other numbers on the number line that could be equal to it or equivalent, as we would say. So you can pause the video, kind of write that last number line, put some number dots on there, label some of those dots. If you measure everything on there, that would be great as well. And now we're going to look at different fractions using number lines. Number lines work if they're exactly the same size and they're cut exactly correctly. So we're going to look at some of these and see if we can do this one right now. We have 3/4, so right here is 3/4. And we're comparing it to 5/2. So we got to find out where 5/2 is. This is way over here. So I'm going to say that 3/4 is less than 5/2. Because ironically, they won't always have the same numerator or the same denominator, so we have to think about other strategies that we can use to compare fractions. Let's take a look at the next one, 15/4. So here's the fourths. Here's 15/4 way over here. And 20 ace. Well, here's 20 ace. That jumped out right at me. Well, I know that 15/4 would be greater than 20 ace. We now have 10/4. So here's 10/4. So I'm going to use the green. And 24 ace, here's 24 ace. This one's at least a little closer now. But 24 ace is still bigger than 10/4, so 10/4 is less than 24 ace. And last but not least, we have 2 and 4 ace. So we're here, a bonus one, using this number again. 2 and 4 ace are using mixed numbers against 1 and 3/4. Here's 1 and 3/4, another closer one, but the advantage still goes to 2 and 4 ace is greater than 1 and 3/4. So you write down these comparisons to help you out. If you need to draw number lines or use the same number line you used in the past, that can also work to help you. Now this one's a really good thing. Mr. King was trying to figure out what did he do here because all the dots look the same. So to be honest, he's not really sure, but what we're going to do first is if I see this one, I got to figure out what is my actual fraction between these two whole numbers. So I'm going to go right now and count my spots. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That means these are tenths between them. So if I want to label these, I can measure in tenths. But now if I know my number is 10, there's two other ways that I could label these as well, which means I could count by fifths. So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. That would also give me, these would be fifths that I would have them in. And if I do it one more way, I could split this up evenly, because remember, fractions have to be equal parts between a whole. I can do this as 5 things. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I go 1, 2. These would be halves. So in these three number lines, I could have tenths, I could have fifths, or I could have halves. So now if we look at these numbers, do they all necessarily end on there? We're going to find out and see if we may have some of them that might be equal. So the top one, our A, equals, it looks like it's 1, 2, 3, 4 tenths. Is it also on a line? Well, it also looks like it could be the same as, or 2 fifths. And the A does not look like, if I bring this down right, if I'm looking A, yep, A is right there, but A is not on a line, so therefore 4 fifths or 4 tenths or 2 fifths would equal what A equals. What does B equal then? So we'll move over to B. B looks like it would be, if this is 4 tenths, we're 1 over, so this would be 5 tenths. Can it be a fifth? It looks like nope, it can't be a fifth because that's in between them, but it can be a half or 1/2. So it kind of matches up there with those right now. So kind of look at as well, does C look like? Well, if we go by tenths, it looks like C is 9 tenths. Oh, actually 1 and 9 tenths. 1 and 9 tenths. If we look and think about that, if we do this one, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Here would be 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Nope, it skips C. And here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope. So there's no other equivalent fractions on this table. What about D? Well, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we know that one's going to be 2 and 2 tenths. This one goes by 2, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So it does land on there, so that would be 2 and 1/5. Put my little or in there. And this one goes by 5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Nope, it does not touch there. So those two would be equal for that one right now. See if you can try to figure out E, F, G, and H on your own. You can pause the video and see, do they fall into more than one fraction? The good news is we know the top line's going to fall into all of them, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that would be 3 and 5 tenths. Now, if we remember, we can go back to our one that's in green over here. Like, oh, 5 tenths or 1/2. So we know that's going to be 3 and 1/2 as well, using our resources from the other ones. But notice it doesn't match up with a fifth because it jumps right over it, but it does match with halves. And we'll continue on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. These are 2s. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. And these are halves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Which ones match up, it looks like? F looks like we have 4 and 5 tenths. Sorry for using yellow. Bad color choice. Or 4 and 1/2 looks similar to what we did with the last one, E, or even the letter B. We'll go to a better color again. We'll bring back to black for G. It looks like it's 4 and 7 tenths. And it doesn't look like anything else matches with the G. And last but not least, our H. Well, it looks like this one is 5 and 9 tenths. Do you think any of the other ones match based on what you think? You are correct. They don't. There are no other equivalent fractions in fifths or halves for 5 9/10. So you can pause the video right now, write down some of this information to kind of help you out, and especially the comparisons of how tenths and fifths or tenths and halves can be related to each other. All right, now it's your turn to use those red dots that are on the screen. Can you fill in what is both the number above, the fraction, and then also the mixed number if it has one? Fill in those numbers. For box 3, now your turn section. Make sure you write that on there, draw a line, put that information underneath there. And now we have some fractions, like you write down the fraction in a number sentence. 9/4 versus 4/2, which one's bigger? 18/4 versus 37/8. 15/4 versus 26/8. And 3 7/8 versus 3 3/4. Compare those fractions right now. And last but not least, the same thing that we did in our video will be the same thing. Can you take these and figure out which ones are equivalent fractions on those lines to figure out how many spaces there are, how can you divide them, and what numbers those are, and which ones are equivalent to each other? If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to write those down or share those out. Also, if you have any strategies that you use to help you, make sure you include those as well. And thanks again for another great lesson.